How's it going, you guys? Damocles here, and today I'm bringing you the best moveset for every single Pokemon in Pokemon Unite. I get this question a lot, both in my comments on Discord, and I see it on the subreddit all the time. And while I'm making a bunch of build videos that you can go and check out and watch, those take a little bit of time, so I figured I would go and make a quick resource that you can just jump back to if you're trying out a new Pokemon, you want to know what the best moves are. As always, if you like this content, please consider subscribing. It is totally free, and if you don't mind watching to the end, it really helps me out with the YouTube algorithm. At 20k subs, giving away a free $20 Nintendo eShop gift card, so that's something to look forward to as well. But without further ado, let's just dive into it. I am on Pokemon Unite GG, which is a great website for guides and builds and stuff, and I have a bunch of builds on here as well that I will be updating for every single Pokemon I make a build for. So make sure if you like text guides, go and check out this site. But without further ado, I think that's the second time I've said this in a 45-second video. Venusaur. Venusaur's best build, bar none, is going to be Sludge Bomb, which is just a fantastic early game laning tool, especially after the buffs, and just a great tool throughout the entirety of the game. Gosh, my nose is itchy, I apologize. It slows an insane amount, and it allows you to just be a massive lane bully at lower special defense. It's just fantastic. And then the other ability you're going to be grabbing is Solar Beam. Solar Beam is unbelievably good. It allows you to get some really nice objective snipes, allows you to poke people down a lot more later on in the game and maintain a safe distance. So when you're in solo queue, this can really help save some games, if I'm being honest. And that is going to be the build you're going to want to run on Venusaur. Giga Drain and Petal Dance, the damage output is just not anywhere close to Solar Beam Sludge Bomb, especially now, and it puts you in a super vulnerable state. You never want to be close range with Venusaur. I'm sorry, Giga Drain lovers, but it's just not good. So don't run that. Run Sludge Bomb, run Solar Beam, and you can stomp people with Venusaur. Like, really, you can really stomp people with Venusaur. I think people are sleeping on it right now because of how bad it was at the start of the game. As for Charizard, we are going to be taking Fire Punch, which is just a really nice movement tool. It applies a burn, which amplifies Charizard's damage to the target. It allows you, especially when you are ganking, if you're jungling on Charizard, which you really should be, it allows you to sneak up behind the enemy and push them into your teammates. It also allows you, I believe it allows you to push through walls. I can't remember exactly right now off the top of my head for some reason, but it's a really, really nice ability. And the ability that is somewhat up in the air is Charizard's second move, which you can either go Fire Blast or Flare Blitz. After the recent buffs, Fire Blast slow is like really nice, and it's a good area denial tool, but overall I feel like Charizard's main damage output are those basic attacks, and in order for you to continue hitting those basic attacks, you need to be able to get onto the target. And so Flare Blitz and Fire Punch, which was the OG Charizard combination, I think it's still the best. Flare Blitz just allows you to chase people down real easily and maintain that close range that you want. It also allows you a lot of outplay potential because of the fact that it gives you a shield as well. You can't miss it, you can't mess it up if you're not a good player. You just point and click, and that's all there is to it. And that is what I run on 99% of my Charizard games. But Fire Blast, if you are into that area denial for whatever reason, or maybe you're playing Lane Zard, you could potentially take Fire Blast. But that is what I would recommend running on Charizard as of right now. Pikachu, the poster child of Pokemon. Now, this is somewhat a personal choice. A lot of people, for lane dominance, you want to run like Electro Ball and Thunderbolt, because it just allows you to really stomp out lanes. You get stuns, plus you get slows from Electro Ball, plus Electro Ball is just going to do, everybody knows, once a Pikachu gets ahead, Electro Ball does like 1,000,000 damage, and it's super oppressive because like you can't dodge it. It's just a point and click. It's like Annie Q from League of Legends, if you've ever played that. So as far as lane bullying is concerned, which is really what Pikachu is in the game for, let's be honest, Electro Ball and Thunderbolt is going to be your go-to. It's going to allow you to kite, which you should be doing all the time as Pikachu, because if you're in close range, you're in trouble. Some people experimented with Volt Tackle in the beta. It's kind of cool as an initiation tool, but if you're going into close range like that with Pikachu, you're going to die. And the only other option is Thunder if you are maybe working with a coordinated team and you really want to just layer CC, then you could potentially go Thunder. But overall, Electro Ball and Thunderbolt is going to be your main like domination tool. So I would definitely recommend taking those. Also, guys, forgot to mention, I am now a member of Team Shiny, so if you want any dope Team Shiny merch, like Tyranitar or Metagross t-shirts, make sure you hit the Merchland link in the description. It would really help me out a lot monetarily, but if not, I still love you. Don't worry about it. Alolan Ninetails. Ninetails is a very interesting character because different regions honestly play her/him a little bit differently, but the main one that I have seen and the one that I think probably works the best is going Dazzling Gleam and Aurora Veil, which provides your team with a large amount of utility. It provides your team with damage reduction in Aurora Veil because Aurora Veil is just really nasty. I know it's more of a supportive style for Ninetails, but Ninetails, the real brunt of Ninetails damage comes from just spamming those basic attacks. Depending on the build that you're going, you could potentially go a mage build, but I'm not really going to dive into that. But Aurora Veil coupled with Dazzling Gleam makes Ninetales super oppressive to play against, especially if you're in a coordinated team. If you're not in a coordinated team, it's still super annoying. Everybody has dealt with a Ninetales that is just relentlessly auto-attacking them, and that's because Dazzling Gleam allows them to keep you away, and Aurora Veil allows them to have damage reduction and enhance their auto-attacks. So it's a really oppressive way to play Ninetales. If you do go this build, I would highly suggest running Muscle Band, just so you can spam basic attacks even more. But I'll save the items for another video entirely. But yeah, the reason why I mentioned like other regions is I know that a lot of JP players like to go the Blizzard Avalanche build, which is more of a mage style build, and it still does a lot. It does a lot of damage, I'm not going to lie, and you can still kite with it, but the team-wide utility just isn't there in the same way as if you're running Aurora Veil. And so for most situations, I would say, for the sake of this video, Aurora Veil and Dazzling Gleam is going to be what you want to run. Okay, Wiggly. In the community, I know there's there's an entire faction of people who really love Rollout, and Rollout is cool. It allows you for some silly outplays if you're allowed to bait people into certain situations. But overall, Sing is what you're going to want to be running as Wiggly. Right now, Wigglytuff is immensely powerful only because they just closed their eyes when they buffed her or him, whatever it is. They closed their eyes when they buffed it, and basically made it so the defensives that it has, all of like the defensive stats, they just got a massive stat boost to the point where it's almost as powerful as like most of the defenders in this game, if not more powerful. So it really bullies lanes super hard, and Sing makes it so you're able to take super advantage of the fact that you can just stand in front of people and take no damage by putting them to sleep and allowing your team to run up on people and destroy them. So I would definitely recommend taking Sing if you're going to play Wigglytuff. As for Double Slap and Dazzling Gleam, this is kind of up to you, but really, I think Double Slap just allows you, again, to maintain that dominance. It makes Wigglytuff scary because it makes it do an actual decent amount of damage in lane, and coupled with the fact that you have those super high defensive stats, it makes you really difficult to duel, even if you're going up against like someone who's not a support, like a carry, like a Cinderace or something like that. Because if you can keep them in range, which you should be able to with Sing, Double Slap's going to allow you to just slap the crap out of them, and nobody likes getting beaten down by Wigglytuff, but that's just the way it is. Dazzling Gleam is just not as nice as the Ninetales Dazzling Gleam, in my opinion. So I would highly recommend going Double Slap and Sing for that Wigglytuff dominance, and to really abuse the crap out of how strong and how tanky Wigglytuff is right now. It's really oppressive, honestly. Okay, Machamp. He just got nerfed, and there's a reason for it. Before the previous patch, Cross Chop and Submission were the go-tos because it's super oppressive, and honestly, not too much has changed. As far as tier lists are concerned, Machamp has dropped down just a slight bit because the reduction that Cross Chop took hurt it significantly. It would really be used to allow Machamp, who really shouldn't be doing too much damage because of the amount of utility it provides. Cross Chop allowed it to do a ton of damage with crits, and so they reduced that slightly. I think Cross Chop and Submission is probably still the way to go. Submission 100% is the way to go. You should not be taking Dynamic Punch on Machamp. Because Submission is honestly, it's one of, if not the best moves in the entire game, not just for Machamp, but literally any Pokemon. It makes him unstoppable. It makes it so you can just rush up to people and toss them in the dumpster. You can basically interrupt any other move in the game with it. It is just unbelievably powerful. Gives you speed buffs, it makes you immune to hindrances. It makes Machamp a real nice meta pick, even if it's dropped slightly down on the tier list. It makes it so you can really run up to those carries and just put them in the dust, because that is the entire reason why you're playing Machamp. It's a very strong early jungle tool. And then as far as Cross Chop is concerned, I think Cross Chop is still the way to go, so you can deal a decent amount of damage as Machamp. But there is something to be said, and I haven't tested it yet, but I think there is something to be said about using close combat potentially, just because close combat also makes you immune to hindrances with Submission. So you could basically have both of your moves making you immune and unstoppable to things, which would be kind of silly. But that's more of a meme build. In general, I would consider strongly suggesting to run Submission still and Cross Chop, because they are just gruesome twosome. They're going to allow you to win fights that you otherwise should not be able to win as Machamp. And if you guys are wondering why I'm mentioning the other skills when I'm talking about the best moves, it's just because I want you guys to get an overall picture. Okay, I'm not just like saying like everything is good, but I want you to understand the potential weaknesses and strengths of each of these moves and why I'm telling you that they are the better option. Okay, so for Slowbro, Surf. It just got nerfed recently because before it was insanely powerful, and it basically made it so you would go and drop a Surf on somebody and they would get knocked up 3 times in a row, and there's basically 0 counterplay to get out of it. Now they've added a little bit of a DR, meaning diminishing returns, to the stun / knockup of Surf so that you can try and escape it, but Surf is still the go-to move, and it's just a really powerful CC tool. You bring Slowbro to be able to shut down characters, and Surf combined with Telekinesis allows you to shut down carries and take them out of fights for literally like 20 seconds. It's pretty ridiculous, because if you combine Telekinesis with the Surf, with the Slow Beam Unite move, it's just like so annoying to play against a Slowbro as a carry. And believe me, I know my character's name is Carry, guys. I know what I'm saying. It's the most oppressive thing when you go and you're destroying. Maybe I'm a level 15 Cinderace and I'm ready to destroy this whole team, and then I get surfed into Telekinesis, into a Unite move, into another Surf. You're just out of the fight entirely, and the enemy team just stares at you and laughs and destroys you. So I would definitely take Surf and Telekinesis still. Despite the nerfs to Surf, it is still the optimal pickup. I do have a cheesy Slowbro build that I'm going to be dropping soon that runs Scald and Amnesia, but I will save talk of those abilities for that video because it's just a silly goose time. But regardless, if you're picking up Slowbro, you're going to want to go Telekinesis and Surf, just because the reason why you are there is to bully the enemy carry and to shut them down, and that is what that moveset allows you to do very easily. On to Gengar, the purple blob that everybody in this game hates. Right up there with Zeraora. The go-to moveset, I still believe, is Sludge Bomb Hex. Even after the nerfs, Sludge Bomb Hex just allows you to very easily deal large amounts of damage. It is super noob-proof. It's really not hard to play it at all, and that's why people didn't like it. You are a little bit more vulnerable now with the nerfs having taken effect with Sludge Bomb and Hex, making it so there's not as many invincibility frames when you're playing it, but Sludge Bomb Hex is still the go-to in terms of just being able to delete entire teams and get resets and stuff like that. But I do have a Dream Eater build. If that is something that you're interested, I have a Dream Eater build on my channel. You can go check it out. Dream Eater Shadow Ball allows you to have a little bit more of an early game presence as Gengar and have some really high single target burst damage. But I still think that if you are serious about playing Gengar, you're probably still going to be wanting to run Hex Sludge just because of how oppressive it can be and the ability to take out entire teams with it. At the end of the day, destroying an entire team is just going to be the better value proposition. So definitely go Hex Sludge still, but honestly, haven't seen too many Gengars since the nerf, so if, you know, I don't know. We'll see what happens, but nobody seems to be playing the dude anymore. So who really cares? Everybody hates it, and nobody's playing it. Mr. Mime, Mime. 100% you run Confusion. 100%. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, guys. Run Confusion. Psychic is a cool ability, but you want to run Confusion. Confusion is what makes Mr. Mime the lane bully that he is. It is just incredibly powerful. Like, it's probably one of the hardest hitting abilities in the entire game, and that's because you're going to be combining it with Barrier, because that is the other ability that you should be taking. Guard Swap is cute, and you can do some cheeky stuff, like if you apply it to a Snorlax or something like that, and you can steal some of their stats. But as far as actual utility and what you're bringing Mime to the party for, if you're bringing a Mime to a party, is Barrier and Confusion, because Mimes are anything except for confusing. You want to be lane bullying people. The go-to Mr. Mime combo is dropping the Barrier behind people and confusing them into it. It will literally deal like 75% of someone's damage when you're in lane. A lot of people think that Mr. Mime is being slept on because of the amount of damage it deals, and it is a really good character. It's just that meta-wise, as far as like competitive team compositions, people learn how to play around it a little bit as far as the confusion is concerned. But a scary Mr. Mime, a good Mr. Mime, is a real scary Mr. Mime. And that combined with the Unite move makes it really oppressive to play against. So 100% I would consider running Confusion and Barrier. There are some cheeky builds where you run Psychic and Barrier because you can do some weird things. Psychic has an interesting interaction with Barrier, but I don't really like it, and it's not that consistent. So run Confusion, run Barrier, bait people to chase after you, and then push them into a barrier, and just win team fights for your entire team. Like, straight up, just carry them with Mr. Mime, because those barriers also are just, you cannot overstate enough how important barriers are in this game. You can keep teams out of Zapdos. You can keep your team from going to Zapdos if you don't want them to throw. Actually, no, you can't. That's a lie. You can't block your own teammates, but wishful thinking on my part. But you guys get the idea. You can have a game-changing Mr. Mime barrier that just allows your team to mop people up, and that's why you should take Confusion and Barrier on Mr. Mime. Snorlax, my boy, my big chunky boy. Heavy Slam and Block is still going to be your go-tos if you're trying to play in any kind of competitive capacity, most likely, because Block's just right up there with Submission as one of the best abilities in the entire game. It is just so powerful to be able to push people off of objectives, deny people objectives, interrupt Unite moves. I mean, literally do anything. You can go and Heavy Slam behind somebody and push them into your team, otherwise known as an Insect in any other game. And it's just such an immensely powerful move. Snorlax saw some nerfs recently because of its dominance. It still remains one of the best defenders in the game. Obviously, you guys know that I'm a big proponent of Godlax, which is damaged Snorlax as well, where you run Flail and Yawn, because Flail and Yawn are also really good abilities, but that is, you know, definitely a more meme-y build where you are trying to one-shot people with Snorlax. If you are just playing Snorlax generally and you want to get better at the character, I would highly recommend running Block and Heavy Slam because it allows you to be that engage, be that initiation, and there is not a large amount of engage and initiation in Pokemon Unite right now because of the small roster size, so that is why Snorlax will always have a place in the current metagame. But if you did want to go the damage build, make sure you go check out my channel for the Godlax build. It is really hilarious, and Yawn is nothing to yawn at, guys. Yawn is really, really powerful CC, honestly. It's just the fact that block is literally one of the best moves in the entire game, that it gets overshadowed. Blissey, the newest addition to the Pokemon Unite roster. This character, people are a little on the fence about, it seems, but I love this character. I don't like playing as it. I love forcing my friends that I play with to play it so that I can carry harder. And the go-to moveset that I would recommend is going Soft Boil and Helping Hand. Obviously, things change depending on the actual game itself. Maybe you're going up against a Gengar and you think your team is going to get slaughtered. Maybe you go Safeguard instead so that you can cleanse your teammates of Sludge Bombs, which would just put a stop to Gengar, just period. Or, you know, some other super heavy CC team composition, but that is a lot harder to play, whereas Soft Boil just is very consistent, allows you to have an immediate impact, toss out a lot of heals for your team, and Helping Hand is just a really busted ability, in my opinion. There's really nothing else like it in the entire game that allows you to amplify your teammates' damage in a significant way. And Helping Hand, I think a lot of people just look at it as like, oh, it's just an attack speed steroid, or, you know, it's a movement speed steroid. And what I mean by steroid is it amplifies that, obviously. But also you need to think about it as in terms of objective taking as well. It acts as just a team-wide damage boost. So if you are at a super contested Dreadnought and you manage to push the team off of it for a couple seconds, your Blissey can basically go and say you have a Cinderace and, I don't know, a Lucario or something doing the Dreadnought, your Blissey can go and drop Helping Hand on them so that they get the movement speed and attack speed increase to destroy Dreadnought, while Blissey just walks away with the remainder of the team and pushes people away. Like, I think that's a really smart strategy when it comes to securing objectives, because it basically allows your damage dealers to have that extra boost of damage almost as if the entire team was on the objective instead. And it's just a really fantastic ability to be using in 90% of situations, just because attack speed increases in any MOBA are just some of the best increases, the best steroids you can possibly get. And movement speed increases as well, being able to rotate. I mean, that's what made Eldegoss incredibly powerful too, is getting a movement speed boost, being able to rotate faster. That's why I really like Helping Hand. I know a lot of people go Egg Bomb when they're playing solo queue because they don't trust their teammates and stuff. And that's fine, but you are missing out on what Blissey is really being brought to the team for, and that is giving them large amounts of buffs and protecting them by combining Helping Hand with Soft Boiled and the Unite move, where you just dash to your teammates, give them a damage buff, and give them a shield. Blissey is a fantastic supporter, and I do think that people are going to start to realize how good Helping Hand is very soon, if they haven't already. So I would highly recommend taking Soft Boiled and Helping Hand. Again, cleanses are fantastic, but right now, everything that really needed to be cleansed in a major way, that was like a 100% do or die thing, like Gengar, basically got nerfed into the ground. So, you know, I wouldn't recommend taking that as often, but your mileage may vary. Gardevoir. Gosh, I'm just not a fan of this character. I have played a ton of it just because I like to know why I don't like a character. But regardless, it has some potential, has a really great late game, and for that reason, I would highly, highly, highly recommend going Future Sight and Moonblast on Gardevoir. I know that some people like Psyshock. I think Psyshock is maybe the better pick if you're not really good at aiming or having, you know, you don't have the best micro skills. But Future Sight and the cooldown resets that it's allowed to get if you're actually good at aiming makes Gardevoir an absolute destroyer late game if you're allowed to get to that point, which people shouldn't be allowing you to get to that point. But if you do get to that point, combining Future Sight with Moonblast and Gardevoir's Unite move that bunches everybody up together, it makes it so you can just output massive amounts of damage end game. The reason why is Future Sight at level 12 makes it so if you land the ability onto a target, you reset the cooldown on Future Sight. And by target, I mean it has to be a enemy team Pokemon. It can't be like a wild Pokemon. But the amount of damage that it actually outputs in one solitary hit is really great at stealing objectives as well. Again, the only problem is that Gardevoir needs to actually get to Gardevoir in order to make usage of some of these moves, but that's for a different video. And Moonblast just is really fantastic CC, which Gardevoir desperately needs, because if you get into close range on Gardevoir, it's toast. It's turkey and cheese on a pita. It's a wrap, son. You do not want to be in close range if you are Gardevoir, so you should be constantly kiting, and Moonblast is fantastic at kiting. It is a stun and a little bit of a dash backwards on a super short cooldown, and later on it grants you a shield, which in my opinion is not noticeable, but really you're getting it so that you can stun people if they're coming after you, or you can go, it has really long range, you can stun people, drop Future Sight onto them, and later on in the game, if you're far ahead, it will take out like 90% of their HP. It's just a really good ability to use. And again, make sure you use Future Sight if you're trying to secure objectives. Place it towards the end of whatever objective you're facing so that you can secure it with your massive burst damage. Again, Psyshock is an okay ability. It does solid damage. It's probably good if you're not that great at aiming. And I just wouldn't recommend Psychic. It reduces, if I remember correctly, I thought I read somewhere that now after the recent changes, it's reducing enemy special defense, but it's just not worth taking over Moonblast in any way, shape, or form. Garchomp. Got a video coming out for Chompy soon. The proverbial beta Pokemon Unite Destroyer, who is not as fantastic anymore. Garchomp's go-to moveset is 100% Dragon Rush and Dragon Claw, in my opinion. It's just going to allow you to do large amounts of damage. Dragon Rush allows you to really make some nice jungle plays because you can drag enemies along with it, and the hitbox, to put it in perspective, if you're dragon dashing, like if you look at this video here, right, where Garchomp is dragon dashing, the actual hitbox for dragging someone kind of starts a little bit behind you. So even if they are not directly in your like vicinity, if you dragon rush in the opposite direction, you can pull the enemy players with you and set them up for easy kills with your teammates. I would highly recommend taking that, because Garchomp also needs to be able to close the distance, and it's a decent distance closing tool as well. As far as Dragon Claw is concerned, this is going to just increase your damage output significantly. It's going to increase your attack speed, and like I said before, Garchomp needs to be in close range. It also has a small dash component, and it interrupts a large amount of things. Both Dragon Claw and Dragon Rush have like a surprising amount of priority when it comes to interrupting other Unite moves. Almost like Submission, except Submission can overwrite Dragon Rush, if I'm not mistaken. But like things like Crustle, Fury Cutter, like if you Dragon Rush in the opposite direction, I'm about 99.9% sure, I checked this yesterday, that you will override it and you will push Crustle back. And so you want to make sure that when you are using Dragon Claw, you use it to disrupt something that the enemy is doing. It is very much like a stun and a displacement as well. I don't know if stun is the right word. It's a displacement, but it's like an interrupt. It will stop just about anything, which is really fun. And little known fact that I'll show in my Garchomp video, You can combine both of these while you are in the air with Dragon Rush. You can go and Dragon Claw and make it so when you land, you just deal a huge chunk of damage. But you can also go and Dragon Rush and Dragon Claw on top of somebody and then eject button to fling them back in the opposite direction. That's an interesting time if you can get it to work. But overall, I would run Dragon Claw and Dragon Rush for Garchomp because it is just a really nice bread and butter moveset. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Lucario, the de facto S tier character in this game. For Lucario, most people run Power Up Punch and Bone Rush. Power Up Punch into Bone Rush is just really fantastic. It gives you a large amount of lane priority and allows you to just dumpster enemy laners. That's why you bring Lucario. Honestly, you bring it to run through people and steal objectives in bottom lane, right? Like everybody knows Lucario's deal. Absolute 100%, probably the biggest lane bully in all of Unite. Even after some of the bug fixes, still does a bajillion damage, and Power Up Punch is no exception to that. It makes him immune when it's being charged. It's just a really strong ability. It also deals execute damage. What I mean by execute damage is it's just, I don't mean it actually executes like it's an insta-kill. I mean that it deals more damage proportional to your opponent's missing HP, which is really nice when you're trying to get people that are fleeing away from you. Yeah, so Power Punch, Bone Rush is, for 99% of the player base, the go-to. Bone Rush just allows you to make some really sketchy outplays with Lucario and dash back to the bone and chase people down. But also, Extreme Speed is really good if you can practice with it. And what you lose in power-up punches, objective stealing capabilities, you gain in team fighting prowess when you're using extreme speed. It's really annoying to deal with a Lucario that is using extreme speed and Bone Rush at the same time because they will just be dashing all over the place, and extreme speed allows you to get resets based off of how many people you dash through. So for example, if you dash through a routes or something early game, you might only be able to go and reset the move once. But if you dash through a routes and then you dash through a Pikachu, you can get another, reset. Or if you dash through both of them at the same time, it's another reset. Like, it's just really annoying to deal with the Lucario dashing all around while beating you up, while it has a shield on, while it has Score Shield, and it's packing Bone Rush to get out. It's just obnoxious. Close Combat is not by any means a bad ability in any way, shape, or form. It hurts really bad, but Lucario really benefits from the movement capabilities that Bone Rush, Power Punch, and Extreme Speed provides. But in general, Bone Rush, Power Up Punch is going to be your go-to in most Lucario matchups. But hey, if you are really nasty and you feel like annoying the crap out of the enemy team, try experimenting with Extreme Speed. I know I feel like it's being slept on slightly. Alrighty. Absol, my friendly early game jungler. I do have an Absol build on here. It's not showing for some reason. I don't know why, but it doesn't matter. So for Absol, I still think that Pursuit and Psycho Cut is the go-to combination for Absol. And why? Because it takes advantage of what Absol is really good at, and that is early game. Absol is there if you want to resoundingly win early game and apply a large amount of pressure to the enemy team. And Pursuit combined with Psycho Cut allows you to do that. Pursuit makes it so you can just relentlessly chase people down and get resets when you hit them in the back. It also does a bajillion damage if you do manage to hit them in the back. It's also just a dash if you need to escape. And later on, it gives you a moon speed boost. It's just a really fantastic Pursuit ability. And then Psycho Cut makes it so your next damaging attacks towards the target, your next basic attacks, are going to do increased amounts of damage. This allows you to win a lot of early game duels as Absol. They did nerf and buff some of these abilities, so Night Slash is not exactly terrible. It increases your crit rate a lot, and it can be really annoying to deal with because it gives you a multitude of dashes and increases your crits, but it's, in my opinion, it's not as good for the early game as Pursuit and Psycho Cut. And the reason why I have such a focus on early games Absol is Absol falls off significantly later on in the game, especially at higher levels of play, like actual higher levels of play, because of how squishy it is, and you're not able to get in and out and like burst people down as much when they are in the middle of team fights. And some people might be saying, oh, if you ran Night Slash, then you would be able to do that better. Or if you ran Sucker Punch, you'd be able to do that better. But maybe you would, but you wouldn't be nearly as effective as if you were running Pursuit and Psycho Cut. And so the name of the game really is trying to amplify the power spikes of each of these characters, right? Absol is a early game demon. It's there to carry you through the early game and snowball leads for you. If you sacrifice that just so that you can have a little bit extra of a little bit better of a time when it's not in a good spot, it's not worth it. You might as well just pick a different character that can perform better in team fights, because that's not why you're picking Absol to begin with. Sucker Punch is kind of like a silly goose ability. It's really annoying if you are trying to run away, but the damage output, I just don't like it in comparison to Pursuit and Psycho Cut. You want to go and just one-shot people as Absol, and you can check out my Absol guide both on my channel and on Pokemon Unite GG if you want to know more about that. But that is what you're going to want to be running on Absol 100% of the time. Crustle, Bustle. So Crustle, I would recommend taking Shell Smash in 90% of the game situations. Rock Tomb is a great ability in 90% of MOBAs, but in this game, you need to have a little bit more agency, and I just think that Shell Smash is just the better go-to. It allows you to have that movement speed, allows you to be able to duel people a little bit better, and really it's more about the movement speed than anything else, right? So I would recommend taking Shell Smash. And I think most people go Shell Smash and X Scissor. They're both solid abilities. It's a really good combo to run. It makes Crustle a really nasty lane bully. And that is what I would recommend as well, honestly. But, do not sleep on Stealth Rock. Stealth Rock got a buff recently, and the damage output that it provides, as well as the area denial that it provides, is not to be slept on. I think you might start seeing a lot more Crustles start to run Stealth Rocks because of how nice the damage and the slowing portion is. Just as far as area denial is concerned, it allows you to do a lot of things that the other abilities can't do. But really, what most people are running on Crustle right now is Shell Smash and X Scissor with a Score Shield build. That way you can go and run like Buddy Barrier, Score Shield, and use Crustle's Unite move to get massive shield, and then you can just score without ever having to worry about anybody interrupting you, because Score Shield stacks with shields. So by putting like 9,000 HP of shields on yourself as Crustle and being able to just make a beeline to the enemy goal with Shell Smash and interrupt people with X Scissor, it just makes you really annoying to deal with and makes it really hard to interrupt Crustle's scoring. So in general, I would consider running X Scissor and Shell Smash 100%. But just do remember that you trade defense when you're running Shell Smash. So you're going to be losing some of your defense. So if you're in a duel and you're trying to run away, you got to really make that decision whether or not you want to use Shell Smash at that particular moment, because it might allow them to just delete you from the game. But Shell Smash, X Scissor, that's what's going to allow you to go and sneak around the back behind people and push them into your team, or push them into walls and or steal objectives. Just do a bunch of annoying stuff as Crustle. Greninja. I've been heaping praise on the Frog Homie since before he was Flavor of the Month, and for good reason. So, Smokescreen, hey, thank you for the sub, appreciate it. Smokescreen is 100% what you're going to be taking. Never take Double Team in any circumstance ever in a million years. Please don't take it. Please don't take it. If someone tells you to take it, don't take it. I'm not even going to talk about why, because it doesn't deserve speaking about. Don't take double team. Take smoke screen 100% of the time. It gives you invisibility, it gives you a dash, and it boosts your next attack. It's good at finishing off enemies. It's good at juking people. It's good at chasing people down. It's good at escaping. It's good at going for steals. It is just a phenomenal ability. It makes Greninja really oppressive to play against. So 100% take Smokescreen every single game, no questions asked. And then Water Shuriken versus Surf. I told you guys this from the jump in Pokemon Unite. From the beta, I was telling you this. Do not touch Water Shuriken, all right? Surf is the bop. It always has been. It still is, and it always will be, unless they buff Water Shuriken even further. Surf is just the go-to. Anybody who's played a MOBA before knows this. If you have something that is an execute, it's a heal, and it's a cooldown reset, you take that ability every single time, no questions asked, and 100% of the time you want to be taking Surf. Yes, they just buffed Water Shuriken, so it does basically triple the damage it did before. Don't matter, guys. Don't matter. Don't matter. Surf is incredible. It is such a good ability. It allows for so much outplay potential, especially if you are in solo queue, okay? And you are an actual carry. You are good at the game and you want to carry your team. Surf is going to, whether your teammates like it or not, it's going to allow you to take a bunch of their kills and allow you to get a massive XP lead so that you can carry your teammates. It's also just really good at cleaning up team fights. It's good at stealing objectives. It's good at outplaying people by bouncing off of different Vespiquen wild Pokemon spawns. It's just a phenomenal ability. So you want to be going and, basic attacking people, hit them with a smoke screen maybe, and then execute them with a Surf. Or you go and you're basic attacking people, you're slowing them, then you're going and you're diving in, executing them with a Surf, and then you're escaping with smoke screen. Just run smoke screen, run Surf. Maybe there's some really strange outlier scenarios where you might want to take Water Shuriken, but if you take Water Shuriken and you go up against a good Greninja that's running Surf, you're probably going to lose that duel 9 times out of 10. So I would highly, highly, highly recommend taking Surf. Surf is it's such a good ability. Such a good ability. Resets on kill cooldown. Talonflame just put out a guide for Talonflame if you want to go check it out. Talonflame, really simple, guys. Run Aerial Ace, run Brave Bird every single time. Fly just got buffed. You guys are seeing a theme here where they buff these terrible abilities and then people start playing them. Fly and Flame Charge should only be used if you want to try and run like a cheesy score shield. Do nothing for your team, but try and score points Talonflame build, but for every other instance, run Brave Bird. It's one of the hardest hitting abilities in the game. I go into it a lot in my Talonflame video, but it allows you to do a ton of damage, allows you to steal objectives real easily, and the combination of Brave Bird with Aerial Ace, which just got buffed, is really oppressive to deal with if you are on the opposing team. If you don't know, if you Brave Bird onto somebody and then you hit them with an Aerial Ace, that's going to charge your enhanced attack. If you hit them with the enhanced attack, you're going to be able to use Aerial Ace again. It's going to reset the cooldown. So you Brave Bird and then double Aerial Ace people, and it just nukes them to oblivion. So if you land Brave Bird, it's going to just delete people. So make sure you run Brave Bird and Aerial Ace. Don't use Fly. Fly is just so predictable, guys. It's literally just like the enemy team just sits there and waits for you to come down and die. And Flame Charge is literally just there so that it's just another movement ability that you can use with Fly to try and get onto objectives faster if you are, and by objectives I mean goalposts faster. So just run it. Just run Brave Bird and Aerial Ace, please. Also just dropped a Zeraora guide. For Zeraora, I run Volt Switch basically every single time. I know some people like Spark and bouncing around and stuff like that. I just think that Volt Switch is the better go-to option. It allows for more outplay potential and individual playmaking potential. It allows you to play super aggressively while also remaining super safe. You can go, just dash in, teleport out. So I really prefer Volt Switch over Spark. And then Discharge 100% of the time, no questions asked. Discharge is just insane. It deals massive amounts of damage. It allows you to do some crazy 1v3s, 1v4s, 1v5s. It is just so good. You have to take it. Just take it. Wild Charge, even though it just got buffed, it leaves you super vulnerable. You are locked into that animation, and the enemy team will take that opportunity to delete you every single time because everybody hates Zeraora. So run Discharge and run Volt Switch, guys. Cinderace, my bunny of death, should go, you know, without question, Blaze Kick and Feint 100% of the time. Cinderace saw some nerfs recently that saw a major hit to its attack, and doesn't matter. You run Blaze Kick and you run Feint. Some people used to go Pyro Ball for whatever reason, but Blaze Kick is just the go-to. It's so strong, and it allows you to get a guaranteed crit. It also makes it so you can really easily chase down opponents by just clicking on them. That's it. That's all you have to do. And then Feint, even though it got nerfed, it's still leagues better than Flame Charge. Having any kind of invincibility in this game is insane, and the better you are, the better Feint is. So just practice with it. It's the hallmark of a good Cinderace versus a terrible Cinderace. Just get better with Feint, dodge those abilities, and run Feint and Blaze Kick every single game. Eldegoss. Okay, for Eldegoss, you are going to be running Leaf Tornado, and you are going to be running, Cotton Guard every single game, basically. Leaf Tornado is really nice. It allows you to increase your allies' movement speed and allow faster map rotations. There is something to be said about Pollen Puff. Some people like it because it increases defense and it heals. If you are particularly fond of that, then you can run Pollen Puff. But I think that the usefulness of the Leaf Tornado Hurricane and the movement speed increase is just really, really important to have in Pokemon Unite. So I would highly suggest running Leaf Tornado, but it's not like it's a super black and white choice. Like, you could run Pollen Puff and heal your teammates if you wanted to. Now I'm trying to decide. It's just, they're both really good abilities. So use your best judgment. Pollen Puff allows you to really dominate lanes. Leaf Tornado allows you to do better map movements. It's 50-50. It's up to you. This is the only one that I'm kind of on the fence about. Because what makes Eldegoss oppressive in lane, even though not a lot of people are playing it that much anymore because of the nerfs, and because of the spawn, the devil spawn that is Wigglytuff and Blissey, Pollen Puff is really oppressive to deal with in lane because it allows your laners to just have infinite sustain and bully the crap out of the enemy laners. But the map movement of Leaf Tornado is also super nice. I guess for the sake of this video, I changed my mind. Guys. Mid-video, I changed my mind. Better thoughts prevail. I would go Pollen Puff and Cotton Guard. Cotton Guard is what everybody runs Eldegoss for. The shield is just really fantastic. It got nerfed, I believe, in the most recent patch, but it is still just what people bring Eldegoss to the party for, and that is healing and shielding. So I would go and I would run Pollen Puff, Cotton Guard. But if you are feeling cheeky and you are playing, like, I don't know, some kind of competitive match where you want super fast map movement or something, maybe consider taking Leaf Tornado. But Cotton Guard and Pollen Puff, go for it if you're still playing Eldegoss. And last but certainly not least, Cramorant. I think has skyrocketed in popularity recently. I know there were some, diehard Cramorant mains in the beta, but some people don't really like playing Ninetails, and as far as special attackers on your team are concerned, Cramorant is a really solid lane bully. What you're going to be running in every single game is Hurricane and Surf. Again, focus on the strengths, guys. Don't try and turn Cram into something that it's not. If this character is based off of attack damage and its basic attacks actually hurt people, then I would say go Dive and maybe like Air Slash or something, or Dive and Hurricane. But that's not what Cramorant is about. Surf and Hurricane allow you to just steamroll lanes. It's really hard to lose lane as Cramorant because Hurricane does a bajillion damage and Surf does a bajillion damage, and it also allows you to steal objectives really easily. So you drop the Hurricane onto somebody who's trying to escape, you hit them with the Surf, they lose about 50% of their HP, and it's a wrap. You want to run Surf and Hurricane every single time, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. I know there's some people that really like Air Slash because they're like, oh, it allows Cram to stay in fights more. It's like, that's not what Cram's about. Cram's not there to stay in fights more and like heal up in the middle of fights. Cram is there to hang out in the back and hammer people with massive damage, disruption abilities like Surf and Hurricane. That's what Cram is brought to the party for. If you're there to try and heal up and stand in the middle of a team fight, then you're playing the wrong character. I'm sorry. That's just my opinion. But again, play what you want. Play what you want. And don't take Dive. Dive is terrible. It's just the range is just atrocious. And again, you're Cramorant. You want to bully people in lane. But that is it, guys. I think this video went a little bit longer than I thought it was going to. But I hope you guys found it informational at the very least. If you made it this far, tell me you're a real one in the comments below so that I know you made it this far. It really helped me out. And I hope you guys found this video to be helpful. I'm going to try and put timestamps in all of the in the description for every single one. If you want to check out Pokemon Unite GG, make sure you go check out that site. There's a bunch of different builds on there. I'm going to make sure I go and update all of my builds. You know, I'm going to try and do them periodically. I got a couple of text guides up there for the likes of like Cinderace and Absol and Talonflame already, so go check those out. Please consider subscribing because it would help me out a lot, and it is totally free. And again, 20K subs, giving away a eShop gift card to one lucky person. But that is that's it for the video, guys. A little bit of a long one, probably going to take a while to export, but I hope that you found it to be informational. You guys have a good one. Damocles out.